All right, so I decided to call up my boy Caleb. Caleb, where can they find you on social media? This dude is a star. He knows his sports. He's an
Yeah.
athlete as well. Where can they find you?
It's Big Cal on Instagram, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so me and him, friends for a long time. We've always had the debate about Jordan versus LeBron. I'm Jordan all the way, 100%. LeBron,
Nah,
he's
it's LeBron, man. It's LeBron.
all right. So,
But
do
we've
you
been
want to
trying
go
to do this
first?
video for a while. We've been trying to do this
Yeah.
video for a while.
Yeah, we're finally deciding to do it. You want to go first or I'll go first? I'm about to.
I think you should go first, but make it clear what we're arguing about.
Okay, the greatest player of all time. Okay, Michael Jordan.
All right.
Now, here's the thing that most people just want to ignore about Michael Jordan. He played in when he was in college, it was the 80s, right? So back then, most players stayed in college for a good 2-3 years, even 4 years, and then they would go to the NBA. So Jordan spent a couple years at college and then went to the NBA. So he came in the NBA at like 23, where LeBron came in at like 18. So LeBron automatically starting off at their careers, LeBron's gonna have better, more stats because he's playing longer. And Jordan spent his years where he could have padded his stats in college. And then Jordan also retired. He retired basically in his prime. You was about to say something?
I get what you're trying to say. I really do, but in a sense, I disagree. I disagree because of the simple fact that Jordan had more time to groom in college. You know what I'm saying? So, when you're in college, you know what I'm saying, you can kind of, in the NBA, it's more of a job. You know what I'm saying? So, you gotta develop quickly. And back in those days, when they draft you, they didn't want to develop you over time like they necessarily do now. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, in LeBron's case, he came in straight out of high school, and LeBron is probably he's the biggest high school recruit ever.
I give you
when
that.
He came out out of high school, and he was deciding that he wanted to join the NBA, it was a big deal. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So for him to come out and him to average close to 22 points a game as a rookie, as an 18-year-old, straight out of high school, and a lot of people don't know, he wasn't even going to play his senior season. So for him to almost not be able to play his senior season and still be that big is incredible. He sold out college stadiums. And so for him to come to the NBA and generate that talent to the NBA, that's a big deal. And you made a valuable point where you said LeBron straight out of high school, so he had more time to score points.
Yeah.
I agree, but I disagree. I disagree because of the simple fact that LeBron is a what? I'm pretty sure you know this, Joseph. He's a pass first, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a pass first kind of guy. So LeBron is a facilitator. So if he had that Kobe, Michael, Shaq killer mentality, I think he could have passed MJ a couple years back. You know what I'm saying? But him being 35 and still being able to score like that, you know what I'm saying? But yeah.
Well, I hear your points, but I just brought up the points about Jordan staying in college more and him retiring early because a lot of LeBron fans like to bring up like that he's gonna have more assists, more points, more rebounds, and I'm saying that matters, but then again he's played longer, played a lot more games. I looked it up earlier. He was in more minutes than Jordan ever did, so that was my point in bringing that up. And if we talking about like strictly as a player, I mean, Jordan averaged 30 points for his entire career. I mean, if you want to talk, this dude is the greatest mid-range scorer in the entire sport of basketball. I mean, this dude is an assassin. I mean, in the finals, we all know the famous shot of him holding his pose. I mean, this dude was he had the killer mentality that LeBron doesn't have. Now, I'll give it to LeBron. Yesterday, he showed up against the Clippers with the game-winning shot, but usually he doesn't do that. He likes to pass the ball to guys like Caruso. Why in the game, late in the game, you're down by 2, passing it to Alex Caruso? You know, Jordan usually wouldn't have did that. He had the assassin's killer mentality.
You just made a point. You know, LeBron passing it to Alex Caruso. 3 finals, Michael Jordan passed the ball. John Paxson twice, and Steve Kerr, right? Mm-hmm. And both of those championships would have been won without those shots.
Hold up. What about?
Now I get what you're saying about LeBron having that, doesn't have the like killer mentality. It's because he's a pass first kind of guy. But we've seen when LeBron is on a kill streak, he's averaging 45 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists. We've seen that. Mm-hmm. And he wins games. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I get the point you're trying to make, but what you have to understand is every argument, and I kind of like your argument that you make, every argument that people like to bring up is about rings. You know what I'm saying? Or
well, I haven't even used that yet, for real.
Or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And or how many games MJ's won or big shots, but they don't realize that this is a team sport. You know what I'm saying? This is a team sport. Like, you can win, you can make the playoffs by, having a player average 35 the whole season, right? You can win. But championships, keyword is James Harden. Mm-hmm. Championships, you're going to need a big shot Bob. You're going to need a Steve Kerr. You're going to need a Kyrie Irving. You know what I'm saying? A guy that you can pass the ball in the corner and have enough trust to pass the ball, and he's going to make that shot. Remember, early in Michael Jordan's career, they faced the bad boys, right? Mm-hmm. And MJ didn't know how to pass the ball. He had Scotty. Scotty was drafted in 1987. Michael was drafted in 1985. So he had Scotty. And then, he can't win without Scotty. No. He couldn't win without Scotty, but he couldn't win without passing the ball as well. When he started to pass the ball and get stronger and started passing the ball, that's when he started winning. So I hate when LeBron does some of the things that MJ does, mm-hmm. have done, or has done it better in some cases, and they criticize him. I don't like that. But go ahead.
Well, I was going to bring up when you was talking about, like, moments in the finals, when you brought up Jordan mm-hmm. passing it to Paxson and Kerr, like, the finals where it was, I believe it was the first or the second year where Kevin Durant came back. It was the JR year where LeBron has the ball. I believe they were, where were they, up or down in the game? He passed it over to George Hill. George Hill goes, gets fouled, and then they end up losing that game where LeBron, he was hot in that moment. I feel like you're LeBron, you're hot. You should have, taken it. You could have drove it past your defender, easily scored because you're LeBron James. They're probably going to give you the foul call.
They probably are going to give him a foul call, but we've seen a lot where they don't give LeBron that foul call. So that's why he has to so-called flop, like,
because it's hard to judge him.
Doesn't flop. You know what I'm saying? But that situation, you have to understand, LeBron's IQ, right, is the best that we've ever seen. And I'll say that because he isn't a point guard. You know what I'm saying? He's a small forward. So we've never seen that from a small forward. We've never seen that from a player like LeBron. Now, you can have the argument with Magic and stuff like that, but the things that LeBron does, where he knows what the player is doing before they do. Iman Shumpert, he played with LeBron on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Mm-hmm. He said in the interview, LeBron knows where other players are supposed to be before they know, right? Mm-hmm. So it was times in the game your mom would be like, LeBron, you know what I'm saying? What am I doing? And LeBron would break it down so easily. It was just a sight to see. So I felt like he knew in that situation it would be better if he passed the ball to George Hill. And it led to a foul. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the outcome of the game wasn't his fault because George Hill missed 2 clutch free throws.
But he made the first.
He missed a free throw.
Yeah.
And J.R. Smith, I don't know what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? So I get the point that you're trying to make. Michael would have took that shot and he would have lived with that.
Yeah.
But that isn't the player that LeBron is. And I like to compare these two guys, but it's kind of imparable. You know what I'm saying?
It would be better
because they're two different players.
To Magic, that would be a better comparison for LeBron.
That would be a way better comparison.
But it's just, LeBron brought it upon himself, wearing 23, being called the chosen one, stuff like that. He brought it upon himself.
But you got to think about it. When you being the chosen one since high school, and a lot of people like to say that about LeBron. Oh, King James or yeah, you know what I'm saying? But Shaq was kind of cocky. Kobe was cocky. But all those guys that I just named were humble cocky, right? LeBron is humble cocky. In order for you to be one of the greatest players of all time or be in that top 5 list, right, you have to know that you're, excuse my language, the shit. You know what I'm saying? You have to know that. You have to know that you have that it factor. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people, try to bash LeBron for, you know what I'm saying, the things that he does. But Michael Jordan, you look at old tapes and old interviews and things he says.
Whoa.
He clearly states that he's the,
Yeah, well.
And you can give, you know what I'm saying, the case that Michael Jordan kind of showed it a little bit more. You can kind of say that, but you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you got to realize, you brought up the 23 situation, the number 23. When you play basketball, right? I'm pretty sure that you had a player that you looked up to, and you wore his number. And sometimes when you're outside shooting hoops, you were thinking in your head, you know what I'm saying? I'm flash like Dwayne Wade. When I was a kid and I thought I could hoop, which, you know what I'm saying, I'm the first one to admit it. I can't. You know what I'm saying? I thought I was Shaq. I thought I was Shaq so bad. You know what I'm saying? Shaq jerseys, number, you know what I'm saying? I watched his highlights. That's how I view how LeBron was. He grew up watching MJ, and in his eyes, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And you can make that argument.
Do you remember in the interview when he said he's chasing the ghost in Chicago? He's talking about Jordan. I believe he does this, the 23, making it in an interview saying, I'm trying to chase Jordan. He's trying to, in the finals, remember when he said that after the finals he thought he was the greatest player of all time? After the 3-1 lead comeback?
Think about it like this. Is he wrong? Okay, Michael Jordan won 6 rings, 2 3-peats, right?
Yep.
Arguably one of the greatest players to ever put on a pair of basketball shoes, right? And step on that court. And for a time, he was the greatest, in my opinion, right? To many people, he still is. Watching, Michael Jordan's the gold standard when it comes to basketball, right? Go back to the NFL. When a quarterback gets drafted, in their mind, they're going to be like, okay, I want to win ships. I want to win more ships than Tom Brady. I want to check because Tom Brady's that gold standard. Michael Jordan was that gold standard. So of course he's gonna try to chase his legacy. Of course he's gonna try to one up Michael Jordan because who's not? That's what great players does. Kobe.
Yeah.
Kobe tried to do it. You know what I'm saying? In a certain extent, Kobe was the closest thing to Michael Jordan ever. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And he acknowledged that. But the only thing is Kobe and Michael Jordan were closer. So he would give him his props. You know what I'm saying? Don't act like Michael Jordan hasn't talked publicly bad about LeBron. I don't think he said anything in a quote, but he's definitely throwing some shade. You know what I'm saying?
Probably.
So it's just, you know what I'm saying? You know, that's what players do. Okay, for me, I'm a football player. I'm a football guy. If I see somebody on the field that is big, can block, can do all the things that a great football player can do, I'm gonna go and try to beat that football player. You know why? Because I think that I'm better than them. You know, it's nothing wrong. It's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's where I think where LeBron was coming from.
All right, so let's switch gears over to some achievements in their career, and this is the part of the debate where I don't really see how you can make an argument for LeBron. I mean, the fact that Jordan went to 6 championships and won all 6, that's crazy. But fun fact, do you know that
Jordan didn't do that?
Huh?
Jordan didn't do that.
He didn't go to 6 and win 6?
His team won 6 and went to 6.
Yeah, but he was a part of that.
He was a part of that.
Okay, fine. Jordan and the Chicago Bulls went to 6 NBA championships and won 6. But do you know the crazy part is that their team never allowed games to go to Game 7? That's an astounding stat. I just want to mention that's crazy that he never allowed games to go to Game 7 and then in the finals.
Who did Michael Jordan play again?
Against?
Yeah, who did he play against?
The Jazz, Supersonics.
Wait. Supersonics. How many top 10 players did they have on that team?
They had the Glove, one of the greatest defensive point guards of all time. They had Sean Kemp.
Sean Kemp was not a top 10 player in that league.
He was not a top 10 player, but he's like...
Sean Kemp averaged 18 points that series.
He's like Zion, similar to Zion, how he is. His size, at least.
His size. Zion...
And they both have athleticism.
You're right. But Zion can go out there and shoot the ball and score. If you stop Sean Kemp from dunking and laying up, you stop Sean Kemp.
But not many players back then were great shooters.
You're right. He faced...
the Lakers
Phoenix.
as well.
He faced the Lakers. The Lakers was old. The Lakers was a torn up pair of shoes. They had a Magic who was on the verge of retiring, that was out of his prime. Who did they have on that Lakers team? They didn't have his first ship. Nobody was on that team. Okay,
wait, hold on. We're talking about who he beat. Who did LeBron beat in the finals? He beat a young 23-year-old Kevin Durant, a young Russell Westbrook.
Wait, time out. He beat 3 MVPs, bro. Kevin Durant was the scoring champion that year.
23 years old, bro. A young kid. He was a young, inexperienced kid.
He was a scoring champion that year.
A young, inexperienced...
Russell Westbrook averaged 22 points. They had the reigning defending 6th man of the year. Yeah. Not to mention 3-7 in the finals, right? Oh, LeBron is 3-7. Michael Jordan is 6 for 6. Greatest, but he faced the Spurs, right? And I'll give you this: he shouldn't have lost to the Mavericks team. He shouldn't have lost to the Mavericks team.
Talking about
Dirk Nowitzki. You can make the argument okay, that's their first year, and you know what I'm saying. They had to. That's not an excuse. I'll give you that.
40-year-old Jason Terry, 40-year-old Jason Kidd.
But they have to face the Warriors a number of times. Warriors was the greatest team on earth at one point. They have a 73-9 record, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had at one point they had 5 All-Stars in their starting lineup.
Hey, I give you the Warriors victory.
Fine.
I'll give you the Warriors victory.
Wait, I'm not done. San Antonio Spurs had one of the greatest teams of all time.
Hold up.
They had
Wait, hold up.
Players in the top 15, bro. Listen, one more. And LeBron didn't have nobody on that team. LeBron didn't have anybody on that team.
I just want to say, I love how you mentioned with the
Wait. One more, and I'm about to kill you with this. The first time he went back to Cleveland and he went to the finals, both of his stars were injured and he played with bums. They had no role players. None. Iman Shumpert, Matthew Dellavedova, Timothy Mozgov. What? Come on.
Look, I love how you mentioned when I brought up the Lakers, you said the Lakers, they were old past their prime. But LeBron played the old Dallas Mavericks, lost.
I gave you that. Listen.
Old San Antonio.
I gave you that. He didn't face the old San Antonio.
Tony Parker was old. Tim Duncan was old. Ginobili was old. All right. 3, 2, 1. Like I was saying, the Spurs, you can't deny it. Come on, bro. The Spurs were old. Tiago Splitter, old, out of the year 2 years later. A old Tony Parker, a old Boris Diaw, a old Tim Duncan, a old Manu Ginobili. He played an old San Antonio Spurs team, bro. You can't deny that to me. You can't deny that.
Tim Duncan was an All-Star that year. They had a young up-and-coming Kawhi Leonard.
He retired a year later.
Beast.
Tim Duncan retired a year later.
Tim Duncan did not retire a year later. He retired 2 years later.
2 years later.
Retired 2 years later. Tim Duncan was averaging 21 and 10 that season for old Tim Duncan. Come on now. Tony Parker was still relevant. Manu Ginobili was obviously still relevant. So those things come into factor when you think about that. They beat Tim Duncan and that team beat a Clippers team that year, a Memphis team that year,
a Clippers team that year,
red hot, which was red hot, right? I'm naming a different playoffs. My bad. But at the end of the day, they didn't just beat LeBron in Miami. And then I get what you're saying. Oh, top 10 player in the league. Okay, D Wade wasn't getting older. Bosh didn't have blood clots the whole year. LeBron was typically by himself that whole year. Wade, how much did he average that series?
I don't have the stats in front of me, so I wouldn't know.
That's my favorite player of all time. Dwayne Wade. How much did he average that series?
I don't have the stats in front of me, so I wouldn't know.
He averaged close to nothing. He didn't average Wade numbers. 17 points a game is not Wade's numbers. Considered third best shooting guard of all time. So it's factors that went into that. It's not just he lost to I gave you Dallas.
So are you giving me that he's old? Past his prime, washed up.
I'm using your words.
Because if
I'm using your words.
So he was old, washed up, past his prime.
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, he's an all-star.
Interesting.
How do you know he's gonna go grab that rebound?
20 years of experience. We could keep going with this. Jordan, also 5-time MVP of the NBA. I mean, MVP, it's really hard to judge that because you could say that every year Jordan should have got it, every year LeBron should have got it. So it's hard to judge MVPs.
I feel like the MVP is just not fun for me no more. It's just not.
I mean, it's the best, hottest player of the year award, basically.
I'm saying.
All right, so we about to wrap up the video. If y'all want to find my mans on social media, where can they find you?
It's Big Cal on Instagram. Follow me, comment, like all my pictures.
If you want to find me on social media, Instagram, JoePolo10, Snapchat, Jody Meeks with 4 S's. This was great content. Spread the word. This is some really good stuff. If y'all want more of this, you got to spread the word. Let people know. And we are out.